Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave Podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture and the rogues who create it every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook.com/Rogue Wave Podcast without an E. Download this podcast immediately following the live stream on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, Soundcloud, anywhere podcasts can be found, or search Rogue Wave Podcast or roguewavepodcast.com on Apple Podcasts. Tonight, we talk Umbrella Academy Season 2. We do Trailer Truth or Trash, Bill and Ted's 3, and The Boys Season 2. And we welcome superstar artist and director Kaare Andrews and his crew from his new movie, Sniper Assassin's End, to talk about the movie. As always, I'm your host, Mike Dolce, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir? Do you have power? I guess you do, right?
I have power for the time being.
I'm coming at you from an undisclosed location that may or may not be my parents' house because we got hit. Ironically, had power all day last night into bed, and I guess they turned it off to go fix a line or something. So I am coming at you from an undisclosed location now that actually has internet access.
Which may or may not be your parents' house.
Which is my parents' house.
Okay.
I got to break out the old banners though, so that was kind of cool, like something.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, hey, whoa.
No virtual background here. No green screen at my parents' house. So
no virtual
background here.
They don't have an internet the holographic interface with satellite uplink and transmissions beaming off the moon and that kind of stuff like you have.
None of that. I really got to think next time to think of a better backup plan. Contingency planning. That would be.
Yes. In the modern era, it is alarming how much of everybody's bread and butter is caught up in other platforms, other private ownerships and stuff like that, like
right.
You say like YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, that kind of thing. And if for whatever reason any of these external forces or platforms should kind of go by the wayside, and a lot of people are dead in the water. A lot of people.
Part of it is liberating.
We at the Rogue Wave are no different.
Yeah, part of it is kind of liberating. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty cool. And I can kind of just sit back and, I wake up, except it happened to be podcast day. I'm like, of all the days for this to happen, it's podcast day.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for us, uniquely, Wednesdays are kind of the focal point days. That's our fault. Like, a lot of things happen on a Wednesday.
Right.
Right? So if it was Tuesday and this happened, we could say this is randomly happening to us and us alone. But this is Wednesday,
Yes.
If this, comic books aren't being delivered. There's a lot of stuff that are being put on hold. I can't speak today. I don't know what's. All right, never mind.
Pretty much just comic books being. I don't even think they're on hold, to be honest with you. In fact, I should go to the comic book store tomorrow and go pick up my Wednesday.
How come you're not at Starbucks? Oh, you can't go to Starbucks because you might catch a deadly disease.
Right.
See, that's another.
Not that I would record. I wouldn't record
that's
the podcast.
Another thing.
I wouldn't record the podcast at Starbucks anyway. I would still need some sort of.
That's true.
Alternate.
That might be a little strange if you showed up at Starbucks with a banner.
I tell you what, no one would be hawking my seat.
I'm actually trying to picture that.
No one would be hawking my seat right now.
Yeah.
No one would be.
No. They'd be like, actually, people would probably be like, okay, when he leaves, do we get that banner? Can we all sit behind that banner?
I would be so pissed too because I used to stalk people at Starbucks for their seats because they'd be next to the outlets, and so yeah, I'd be like, guy's got a banner. I can't do anything. Like he's never getting up.
Yeah,
like, he's clearly never getting up.
This guy might be here for a while.
I know.
The banner's like a dead giveaway. This guy might be in for what kind of bullshit is this?
Yeah. No.
But all right, well, you do have a backup though. You got to be happy that you do have a backup, all right? Yeah. A lot of people don't have a backup. I think if I was in trouble, I really wouldn't have a backup. So, as kind of awkward and strange as it is to be at your undisclosed place that may or may not be your parents' place. It is still, we are still lucky we can still broadcast. So we gotta, unfortunately, the way the world works, we still got to be happy about even how messed up we are, because we're not more messed up than we could be.
Yeah. No, this is
that kind of weird dabbling in optimism that I just did.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around. So with that, I think there's no better segue than to go into the rogue rage, all the rage in the pop culture world. This one kind of is an interesting one, really, really interesting. Live action Mulan is headed to Disney Plus in September, but there's a catch. This is from USA Today. After many delays, Disney's much anticipated live action Mulan will be available for fans this fall via streaming. Disney announced Tuesday during an earnings call that Mulan will premiere September 4th via the Disney Plus streaming service. Subscribers will be able to watch the film for $29.99. Simultaneously, it will be released in theaters in international markets where Disney Plus is unavailable and cinemas are open. We see this as an opportunity to bring this incredible film to a broad audience currently unable to go to movie theaters, while also further enhancing the value and attractiveness of a Disney Plus subscription with this great content, CEO Bob Chapek said on the call. Hassan, would you pay $30 to see a movie at home?
Wow.
Because really, the segue into this, hang on, before you answer that question, immediately what was trending on Twitter as soon as this was announced.
Wait a minute. Are you warning me about a segue before you actually make a bad segue?
No, not a segue. I mean, this isn't a... Well, yes, I actually am.
This truly is a different day.
Yes.
This is a different kind of broadcast. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying, before I answer...
immediately what was trending on Twitter was Black Widow is going to be next. That was the speculation. Black Widow, this is how we're going to watch Black Widow. So... when I ask you the question, would you pay $30 to see a movie? I'm not necessarily asking you, would you pay $30 to see Mulan? Because I think the answer would be no. Black Widow.
Well, I mean, I'll stick with Mulan, but also with the caveat of whether or not it was Black Widow. I don't know, man. $30 for any movie would be rough.
It seemed a bit eccentric, right? It seemed a bit much.
Yeah, and there's not any clarity that I could find while I was researching this. There's not any clarity of how many views you would get. Is that universal? Like, you pay $30 and then you get unlimited views?
I would hope
so. Or is there a limited... Yeah, but it doesn't clarify.
Right.
You know? It doesn't make that clear. On Amazon, when you pay $20, $19.99, I think.
Yeah.
Per movie. You get to keep that movie permanently.
Correct.
You know, for however long you have that streaming service, which is not permanent. I don't care what anybody says.
I would assume.
I mean, even when you buy a movie,
and again, I could be
have it permanently.
Son, I can be completely wrong. I'm going to assume the $30 is to keep the movie as well, because that would just be ridiculous to rent a movie for $30. Then the answer is
I understand the logic.
Right.
I understand the logic of it, but we don't have confirmation of it. I understand that, you know, coming from a business standpoint, it would seem kind of greedy to make you pay for. I mean, maybe you get it for a month, and then you'd have to buy it again. You know, maybe you get it for a month at $30, and then it'll come down. You know, it'll be almost a reverse. It'll come down to $20, and then you could buy it permanently after that first month, right?
I mean, what's the limit though, where it becomes just free on Disney Plus too? I mean, that's the thing that's so interesting about this, right? I guess the Trolls World Tour was a big thing, and I guess Hamilton also was another one. But what's that?
Probably after 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but I'm just saying that, first of all, my first answer is it would depend on how long I would be able to keep the movie. If not permanently, then how long? It would depend on the problem that they're going to have with this. Even though we talked about this in the reverse weeks ago, how foolish it was to wait for markets to open up, because the market's going to be flooded when they open the theaters again, right? Yeah. You know, when and if they open theaters again, every movie that's holding out is going to have to compete with every other movie that's holding out, in which case no matter what they do, they're not going to make the same amount of money because they have to compete with a broader kind of audience, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we were saying, and it made sense at the time when we were saying it, we were saying, okay, everybody should make plans to try to deliver them on a streaming service. They should work out the revenue to try to get the exact same amount of money by releasing these films, brand new feature films, on a streaming service so everybody could watch it from home. So that we were basically saying reinvent the model to deal with the kind of times that we're living in. Right. Now, they did that, which is very good, but it seems there was at least a flaw in our, or I'll say mine. I won't include you in it. I'll do what you usually don't do because you always include me if anything. But I won't include you in it. The problem is. The problem is charging us $30 to put it on a streaming service with all that other content that's still coming out. I mean, Netflix and Amazon are still putting content out even during these lean years. There's still about how many things on Netflix do you want to watch that you just have time to watch? Yeah. Even before the COVID situation happens, even before the lockdowns, right? So now they're putting out this new film, and they're going to charge us $30 for it. I'll redirect your question to you. How likely are you to pay $30 to watch something brand new when you could pay nothing and watch a bunch of other things you haven't seen yet for free? It is a crowded market. Yeah. And now you're talking about taking an exorbitant amount of money from everybody.
What this reminds me
of, a lot of people are broke.
Right. This reminds me. It's amazing how much the movie industry parallels the comic book industry, though, too, because this is like same day digital release for Marvel and DC on apps like Comixology, and they charge you like full comic book price. So
you don't get the paper comic book.
Correct. So it's like, the only reason they do that is because otherwise the comic book stores would be pissed. And then there's this synergy between the two. It becomes this. There's this like synergy or whatever, where the comic book store would basically go out of business if digital was released at the same time and cheaper, right? I mean, that's their fear, right? So there's this synergy between the comic book store and the comic book publisher, and they have these deals in place. So I wonder, this exorbitant amount of price is to kind of appease the movie theaters right now who can't operate like normal, and in a way they're kind of like, all right, well, look, if you'll pay $30 to see this movie, then, look, we kind of have to do this, right? Like, and so theaters can sit there and say, well, at least when we're open again, we won't be charging $30 for a ticket. Now they'll be charging what, like 12 or 15, or if it's a matinee, they'll charge a little cheaper. So yeah, at least they can hang their hat and say, look, theaters, we still love you and we still believe in you. So this is why we're just going to charge an exorbitant amount. And if they're going to pay $30, they're going to pay $30. There's nothing we can do about it. We have to get this content out there. We can't keep waiting around for you to open when there is another delivery system available. And B, we have to make our money back. So I think theaters can say, okay, this is an exception. $30. No one's gonna choose to pay $30 versus go to a movie when the movie's out. This might be the compromise when all is said and done.
I don't know, man. The way people are sociology is today, I think society, and especially after this COVID situation, but I think even before that, I think the society is becoming much more and more introverted, as opposed to extroverted, to the point where the convenience of being able to watch something brand new in your home, some kind of blockbuster movie in your home, I'm sure the novelty will wear off eventually. But for right now, the convenience of being able to watch something brand new piped right into your house might be enough of a new thing, a new shiny thing, and it's safe. Like, would you want to risk your life to go see Mulan, or would you rather watch it in your living room? Same with Black Widow. I'm not making any kind of distinction on it.
But let me ask you a question. Let's put that aside because obviously that's an extra wrinkle in this, right? Let's pretend vaccines out or this is gone or everything is safe, right? So this is 2 years down the line, all right? Do you foresee the luxury of getting everything in your house over the idea of actually going out to see something? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know. They'd have.
I'm just saying. I will admit it's been kind of nice to watch a movie as crappy as Old Guard from the comfort of my living room, right?
I didn't find the movie crappy, so but yeah, I mean, depend on the price. When everybody can go back out to get that experience again, they are going to have to adjust their prices. They're going to be, if they want to be competitive, movie theater will offer, and if movie theaters are smart, however possible this is, they'd lower the prices and then up the outdoorsy experience again. They'd add, they'd do more to lure you out. But I think movies are going to be like what Broadway shows have already become. Like they're a special event. They're they're an out of the house, dress in your Sunday best kind of circumstance, and go have an evening on the town kind of event where you would see the movie and then have dinner. You do the whole thing. You wouldn't just run out. You wouldn't just drive over to your local multiplex and catch John Wick 8, and just chill out with a bucket of popcorn and then run back home. It would be an event kind of circumstance. So, and I mean, look, that's not so bad, especially if the movies that could hold out, the movies that the theaters that could stay in business with that kind of alteration into their revenue stream would just kind of up the experience to it being almost like a Broadway experience. Like they would the core would change, the hospitality would change. It would be probably less ramshackle. Where a lot of movies now you're on your own. You go inside. Good luck. Hope you can. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you're not sitting next to a jerk. Hope you're. Hope the concession stand has what you want. Good luck. Yeah. But this would be much more of an engineered experience.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. Yeah. I mean, isn't it strange, man? It's only 6-7 months, and life has just completely altered. Like business, everything has completely altered.
It'd be interesting, yeah. Again, because there's still the caveat of the virus being out there, it'll be interesting to see if it's a rubber band, how much it snaps back. But I agree with you. Yeah, right now this is a crazy times. All right, when we come back, we got not one, we got not two. Well, no, we got two. We got two trailers to do some trailer truth and trash on. Both will be streaming in your living room when we come back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave Podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture. Go to facebook.com/Rogue Wave Podcast without the E to stream us live every Wednesday, and go to roguewavepodcast.com to subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Okay, we had a trailer come out last week, and we had a new trailer come out this week. One's for a movie. One's Bill and Ted's 3, which we kind of bashed the teaser. At least I bashed the teaser when it first came out.
Yeah, you
we had
did.
An actual full-on trailer come out for Bill and Ted 3. Then we had a trailer for Season 2 of The Boys, which will be on Amazon Prime starting in September, which we're really, really super excited about. Which one you want, a trailer, truth, or trash first?
You do Bill and Ted.
All right.
Jump
so
into
Bill and Ted 3 is the movie no one asked for, but I was reading up on it a little bit, right?
Jeez. Okay.
They'd been trying to get this movie made for years, and it wasn't until
so basically they're the ones who asked for it.
Right. It wasn't until the Renaissance, the Renaissance with Keanu Reeves, that they were actually able to get the movie made. So once Keanu Reeves, John Wick has resurrected the once stallion-like career of Keanu Reeves, and it has now allowed us to have a Bill and Ted 3. And I got to be honest, when I first saw the teaser, I just got sad. I don't like seeing people get old. They looked old because they are old.
You have an ageist kind of thing. You got.
Yeah, no, it makes me sad. I have no problem to say that I am
Why
not
would it make
discriminating
you
against.
Right, never
I'm not
that's
discriminating against people who.
That
are old.
kind of you are. But I mean,
am merely saying
we don't need to go into your psychology. Go ahead.
Keep going. I am legitimately sad. I am sad.
Why? People age.
I know, but I don't want to see them in movies. I don't want to see my.
You don't want to see old people in movies.
Watching get old, unless it's like.
Because you're an ageist.
George Clooney, in which case he just seems to just.
Oh, so they have to age gracefully. They have to age like wine.
Well. But even even Ad Astra, Brad Pitt. He's starting to show signs now where I'm like, this is a different Brad. I'm not cool with this. I'm not cool with it. I'm just not cool with it.
So you're just one of those people who want everything to stay exactly the same,
yes,
without changing ever.
Exactly. I want this to be like 1995.
Gotcha. Right.
So
you know what? I usually this is usually the time I start making fun of you, but things being permanently in 1995 probably wouldn't bother me too much either.
You'd be you'd get sick of Oasis
pretty quickly. The music I would love, but I don't know about the. Yeah, but I never really listened to them much anyway.
I'm just saying.
I would go around them. Yeah, but there would be alternative radio stations and stuff like that would play different things, not just Oasis. Right. But anyway, never mind.
Little Alanis Morissette, okay. Little Melancholy. Get some Biggie on there. Some Tupac. Be good.
You were talking about Bill and Ted.
That being said, new trailer. I got to give it truth, and I got to tell you, it made me excited to see the movie. For some reason, it didn't come off. They didn't look old. There was more to the trailer than the teaser. And yes, I know a teaser is just a teaser. I get it. I hear the complaints out there. Why are you being so hard on a teaser? It's just a teaser. At the end of the day, I want the end result. There's no excuses for the end result. If the end result doesn't get me excited for something, I don't care if it's a teaser or a trailer. This trailer actually got me excited. We got to see him kind of hopping around. We got to see the daughters play more of a prominent role in this, which I thought was kind of cool. See them in hell, so that was kind of cool, and they're working and things like that. And just in general, it even though the premise was exactly the same as in the teaser, the delivery of the premise in this particular case said, "Okay, I want to go see this movie now." What were your thoughts on that?
My feelings on it were exactly the same as the teaser. I enjoyed it. I'm interested in seeing it. There's really no way unless some kind of cataclysm happens. There's no way I'm not going to see this movie. So.
Well, now you absolutely have to. I feel it's on demand now. We're going to definitely see it. I mean, it's going to be out. So they're taking the route. I actually was doing a quick lookup. It doesn't say how much it's going to cost. Is it going to be $30? Would you pay $30? That's the trailer, truth or trash. Would you pay $30?
I doubt it. I doubt right now. It'd be $30. I think once Mulan comes out, and if Mulan is a success, you'll see Bill and Ted go up. If Mulan comes out and people actually pay the $30 to see it, that will become a new business model standard.
Mulan is actually after Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted will be out. Bill and Ted will be out September 1st. So
when is Mulan coming out?
September 4th. So luckily,
Bill and Ted. They might, because of the proposal. They made the proposal already for Mulan, so they might adjust the price to Bill and Ted.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, that's the thing. I don't think there was ever an announcement of the price to begin with. So
which leaves them a lot of wriggle room to be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah, so I think that was pretty cool. So,
but if you're talking about like Black Widow, all those other future movies,
if
Mulan is a success and they start bringing out Black Widow. What's the sad thing is that the only thing that's going to be stuck out in the ether is Tenet, because everything else is trying to adjust itself so that it could be conveniently viewed by broad audiences, and because their lack of flexibility. Now, it could be like because Nolan's a genius, it could be the outlier, and he could end up winning this gambit, and everybody could come back going, man, we should have just stuck to our guns instead of trying to accommodate the circumstance. But conventional wisdom says it's probably not going to happen, and that rigidness in this case might actually lose them more money than make them. So who knows?
Yeah. So I think we're both excited to see it. I think on the did it make you sad is the truth or trash this time, and it did not make me sad this time. So I'm going to give it trailer truth. Like it gave me actually excitement. Okay. I think also we're so content starved, which we've kind of brought up before, where any new content is going to really get us excited. Now, is my Bill and Ted 3 excitement on the level of The Boys? Absolutely not. And we got a new trailer from them, or we got an actual trailer from them now. So a couple of weeks ago with The Boys, they actually had the it was part of a virtual event. I don't think it was not Comic-Con. It was before Comic-Con, I think. Or no, maybe it was part of Comic-Con at home. I don't remember exactly. But you could watch the opening 3 minutes of the new season, or 6 minutes, or whatever it was. And man, oh man, the one thing I got to tell you, trailer truth or trash, they love showing blood, don't they? Like they just, I mean, there's something about like their whole marketing campaign is the fact that it's like the bloodiest thing possible. To me, that is the one gimmick that ran out very early on in season 1. Like I have no interest in like I don't need this to be like. I mean, there's a scene in the new trailer for The Boys though, where I mean, I guess. The Superman character just kind of like rips the guy to shreds with his laser eyes and things like that. There's certain kills that are kind of cool and interesting. And it's definitely based on the Garth Ennis book, because killing is like one of like different methods of death is one of like Garth Ennis's like stock and trades when he was writing. So they've thankfully transferred that over into the TV show. However, I don't need to see blood in this to be excited for this TV show. I'm excited because we're going to see what happened at the end. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. You get to see Carl Urban's character. He is alive. He gets out of the predicament where he met, his wife, who is presumably dead, which is a departure from the comic book, from what I understand as well too. So I'm excited without the blood marketing. So truth or trash, do you need the blood marketing for you to get excited for this, or you're not excited for the show anyway?
I'm not excited by The Boys. I didn't like season 1 really that much. So I'm interested to see it. I will see it. I'm not going to boycott it, or I'm not against it happening. I'm hoping that I enjoy it more than season 1. But like everything is kind of a one note to me with The Boys, so everything is kind of a shock and awe, kind of assault on the senses. Yeah, but it's only a shock and awe with one switch on. Right. Like everything is over extreme, like you say. Everything is gory. Everything is very bloody. Everybody's kind of an ass, and everybody kind of makes mistakes and misses the point, and everything takes and everything is kind of a tongue in cheek against the Justice League, against the cleanliness of the Hanna-Barbera, the whole that kind of milieu. So once you're kind of hip to that, and once that novelty kind of wears off, it kind of doesn't have too much room to flex after that. Doesn't have many places to go, since it doesn't seem, judging by the previous season, it doesn't seem interested in developing characters, like expanding on characters. So it's going to be one extreme set piece after another, in theory.
Sometimes that one note can be enough to keep the excitement going. and to keep the
Yeah, but you
interest
asked me if whether I was, and it's not enough for me.
I know, and I'm commenting on what you're saying, so I'm
I know,
giving my
I know,
response.
but I'm making sure I don't lose the floor, because like sometimes you take the floor back, and then I'm like, what happened to the floor? And then I was like, I'm standing on that floor. I'm trying to explain. But yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say
You're
sometimes
saying,
that one note
is
is
that for
enough.
you? Sometimes you're all right with it being like a beat, like a single beat.
Yeah.
You know what? And I think honestly, I might be unduly harsh towards it.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember like being fascinated with it, but it never came down like spoiler for season 1. It never came down past A-Train killing the main character's girlfriend. I forgot the kid's name. Who's the main character? I see you. Huey. It never comes down from A-Train killing his girlfriend. It never. Yeah. It never stops replaying that over extreme beat.
Yeah.
It never comes off of that. So it's like a sensory overload every episode of like, imagine how terrible real irresponsible superheroes could actually be.
Yeah.
Imagine how, and then doing the corporate thing, doing the sponsorship thing. It is nothing, and it is actually surprisingly, The Boys is actually nothing new in depicting superheroes as kind of mascots, as corporate mascots, all the way back to Mystery Men, where Greg Kinnear's character, Mr. Fantastic, I think his name is, Mr. Magnificent, or something like that, was covered in product endorsements. Like his superhero suit was like, was like NASCAR. It was all these with all these labels and logos all over his suit. Yeah. So corporately sponsored big tent icon superheroes like Superman is not a brand new idea by any stretch of the imagination. The Boys takes that ball and just runs with it, and introduces like all kinds of infinitely much darker possibilities, like them being part of the military, them being sociopaths, virtual sociopaths, that kind of thing. And that is very interesting. I think it would have been for me a fantastic movie, but for watching that for 10 hours started to chafe after a while. Me personally. It did really well.
This trailer, to kind of get it back full circle. Then I'm actually gonna go trash on the trailer because I don't need to see blood. But for the actual show, I'm excited.
I'm excited to have my mind changed, from season 1, so I could come with you halfway on that.
Knowing you, it's not gonna happen.
It happened. It happened in another circumstance. So, right. I mean, it is possible.
All right. Well, maybe we'll get into that in the next segment. When we come up next, Umbrella Academy Season 2, we will dive right in to the latest string of episodes on Netflix. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. Go to Rogue Wave Podcast without an E to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Check us out every week on Facebook.com/Rogue Wave Podcast. Okay, we are going to dive into the latest superhero streaming, the Umbrella Academy. Now, this is... So Hassan, here's my debate on this my internal debate. So this is behind the curtain stuff. We normally give it 2 weeks to do any spoilerific kind of review and or discussion, right? However, I think because there's such a devoid of content out there, like I don't know, at least from what I'm seeing, everyone seems to really be keying in on this series. Like this seemed to be the the series of choice where people are really kind of diving in. So how deep do we go into season 2 to where it's still on everybody's mind and we're talking, but we're not giving too much away?
I mean, we could just go into overall impressions in comparison with season 1.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to talk about plot developments, and there's a lot of plot twists in season 2. There's and there's kind of a cliffhanger, another cliffhanger at the end of it.
I know.
And we don't, huh? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, but it's a good one. It's a good one. It's not one of those. When we watched Cursed starts with a question. Okay? It starts with a setup. It starts with a question. And then after 10 hours, it ends on the same question.
Right.
Without giving us, it starts with a very compelling, very intriguing visual.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, we're gonna dive into that. And it ends with that exact visual.
Mm-hmm. So
you still, after 10 hours, still do not know what happens right after that. And that's infuriating. The first season of Umbrella Academy ended with a cliffhanger about the world potentially being destroyed.
Correct.
The second season begins with a revelation of that cliffhanger, and then it ends with a brand new cliffhanger. But the good thing is they resolve the first problem.
Correct.
In season 2, so that's kind of if you're gonna want to leave a dangling plot thread at the end of every one of your seasons to compel people to come back for the next season, at least have the decency to wrap up the current story and then lead into something else. I've never had a problem. I've always been annoyed with cliffhangers because you just want more.
That's a Netflix thing, though, too. I mean, that's what we spoke to Simon Barry about this. And what the interesting part about Netflix is, right? So Simon Barry is the creator of Warrior Nun, and we asked him about the cliffhanger at the end of his show, and he said that's kind of a Netflix thing. They kind of, it's not a mandate, but it's a playbook, right? It's their playbook that they essentially assign, especially new series, because they want you to want season 2. They want you to talk about it. This goes back to the inherent problem of week to week versus dumping full seasons. You don't get the mileage when you dump a full season out. The only way you get the only way you get mileage is to have a cliffhanger. If there was no cliffhanger at the end of season 2, would people be talking about it enough to want a season 3 or a season 4?
Yeah, we fundamentally disagree on this because we have cable, we have network television, right? Mm-hmm. And streaming is supposed to be a step up from those things. Streaming was touted as adult television, watching it in the context of your own schedule, making up your own schedule, being having the on-demand aspect of it. And so when they're still going to go through the process of parsing out very, very slowly your content, it takes the responsibility out of your hands. It takes the control out of your hands. It makes you have to capitulate to their schedule again, right? Yeah. For more money and less content. Yeah. So I think because of what I was about to say about the cliffhangers from Netflix. The annoying thing about that format is that because of some reason their business model is you may not get this next year. We may not get and especially with the current the pandemic that's going on, we may not get a season 3 of Umbrella Academy until 2022.
It's true. Actually, it's very possible. Netflix is saying we're finally getting impacted because Netflix has shot stuff so far out in advance that we were fortunate it just happened to roll in, but even they are now getting affected. So it's very true. It might not be 2022. It will probably, if it does, it'll probably be early 2022. It
doesn't matter. We used to look. I'm watching and yes, there is a question of quality control, right? But I'm watching season 6 or whatever of Next Generation. Because as you were talking about Star Trek Next Generation, because you were talking about content in and of itself. And so sometimes when you're working at home and you cut on the TV, you watch anything. Season 6 of Star Trek The Next Generation had 26 episodes. Okay? And then they came back for a season 7 3 months later with another 26 episodes, right? We can't get 10 episodes per season in a year. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's way less for way more. Now, you could say that the quality of television, the quality of storytelling is orders of magnitude ahead of where network television was in the mid-90s or the early to mid-90s. I get it. I understand that. But you're giving me way less for way more. That's the fine line of it. And now you're talking about, I'm going to give you way less for way more, and I'm going to make you wait per 7 days.
Yeah.
Per installment, where your original business model, your original pitch to me in the brochure was, yeah, you're going to get less. Each season is going to be foreshortened by half, and you might have to wait a little while to get them. But when you get them, it's going to drop. You're going to get a 10-hour movie, every year or every other year.
So you just jumping off that point, though.
Favorite content.
Yeah, but just jumping off that point, though, right? I mean, you were not a huge fan of season 1, but did season 2 match that 10-hour movie more for you?
Mm-mm.
No?
Much more. It's season 2 is much more cohesive, much less it knows what it is. Like, it really knows what it is. It knows what its intent is. There were aspects of season 1 that would drive me crazy, like especially the what's his name, Herschel and Cha-Cha,
Hazel and Cha-Cha,
Hazel and Cha-Cha. I'm bad with names. They are important characters. They come in later in the Umbrella Academy stories, but they threw them in the first season. It's kind of like this this Game of Thrones situation where we're going to throw as many characters in and have as many loose character threads as humanly possible. But you're telling us the story of the Umbrella Academy, and probably some of the least developed characters in season 1 are actual members of the Umbrella Academy. I agree with you 100%.
Hazel and Cha-Cha are the best part of season 1, and I like.
Yeah, and I disliked them. I did not. I really just didn't enjoy their storyline. So they were the most prominent fixtures in season 1, and I just didn't find it compelling. They really annoyed me. Like these callous, day player killers, heinous killers that are kind of bored with their job, and they don't. I get it. It's just like The Boys. I get it. It is interesting. But it doesn't hold my interest for as long as you play it, right? None of that is happening in season 2. 90% of season 2 actually involves the Umbrella Academy, and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Their characters get developed. Their characters are stronger. Their threads are stronger. They actually act like a family in this one, where they still have their differences, but they put a lot of their differences aside to handle a situation. They understand the stakes. They're less self-absorbed, which is an interesting aspect of having superheroes like the Justice League or something like that be kind of dysfunctional and self-absorbed and embittered the way their upbringing. I don't think that's a bad storyline. I don't think that is a wasted aspect of the characters. But when you have that and you have your main characters manage to put that aside to handle the situation, it actually endears them to you more, as opposed to watching them F up, gambit after gambit because they just can't get along, which I think they played in season 1 a little too long, I was thoroughly impressed with season 2. I thoroughly enjoyed season 2. I think it's leagues better than season 1, but it doesn't change season 1. So if you enjoyed season 1, you'll go right into season 2. You can enjoy it. They didn't alter anything to the point where they rebooted the whole thing and changed the script. So that's my take on it. I think it was great. I'm hoping that I have the same feeling for The Boys, because I really didn't, I enjoyed season 1 of The Boys. I watched the whole thing through, but I wasn't really thrilled with it. I wasn't enamored with it like a lot of other people are.
This guy.
Same with the Umbrella Academy. There was a lot of interesting things in season 1, but what'd you say?
This guy. I like boys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like but I didn't like either of them. So out of 2, I've come out to be a fan of 1. So now I'm hoping that I feel the same way about season 2 of The Boys, which helps me really get into. Because I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're bad because I didn't like them. They just didn't grab me.
Yeah.
I don't think they're.
It was that good.
They're poorly done, huh? I just didn't. It just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
You're on a delay, so I can't.
Ironically,
I can't hear your jokes.
Yeah, I think our internet is telling us we should move on to the next segment. Let us know your thoughts. Season 2, is it better than season 1? We'll dive even deeper into it next week, but we didn't want to be too spoilerific because it's only been a few days since it's been out, and we're generally pretty good about doing that. When we come back, though, we welcome 3 gentlemen who set out to make an action movie, and they succeeded. Sniper, Assassin's End, featuring Tom Berenger. We've got 2 of the actors and director Kaare Andrews coming up next. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. Thrilled to welcome many talented folks here for this particular segment, especially Mr. Kaare Andrews, who defines the term rogue and does pretty much a little bit of everything, really. Known primarily in the comic book world for books like Spider-Man Reign, his Iron Fist run, and just an assortment of different art and writing. Kaare, it's great to see you. It's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, really, really great. So, want to start with you, and then we're gonna talk to Chad, and we're gonna talk to Ryan, who just popped in video. Yes, we got the video. That's what we like to see. Because you got a new movie out, and the movie is Sniper: Assassin's End. Talk to me about how you get into directing. Primarily, again, you're kind of known as in at least in our circles as comic book artist and comic book writer. To me, it's a natural evolution. But just talk to me about how you got into directing and into this movie particularly.
Yeah, sure. Well, when I was a kid, I did all the things. I drew comics, I wrote stories, I made movies on my Super 8 camera, I did stop motion animation, I used to give book reports on special effects, I love model making, I loved all of it, and it was one big thing to me: toys, video games, just one thing. And then as you get older, people try to tell you, though, these are all different things, and you can only do one of them. You can only be comics, or it can only be animation, or it can only be whatever it is. And so I went along with that for a little while, and went to art school and started drawing comics. And it never seemed like that was real. So as soon as I broke into comics, I moved to Vancouver and bought some film gear and started writing and shooting short films. Just because why not? I broke into Marvel Comics, I did that. Why can't I do more than one thing? And then so separately from my comic book career, which was already, which was just kind of getting started, I started to build from the ground up a directing career, just writing and directing short films and writing scripts and getting an agent and all this sort of thing. But it was a separate life, basically. Yeah. It was like a separate secret life of being a director. And I still haven't had a project where the two combine. This is probably actually one of the closest, because the tone of the movie is a bit comic booky, is a bit like it's action. It's a bit heightened. It's we try to inject some style in it with our modest budget. anyways, I just feel like the world unnecessarily categorizes you into a box, and it's not true. Like the world is different than that. So why can't you like build Teslas and rockets? And why can't you draw comics and direct movies? Like, like why not? Your artificial constructs and constraints that you can ignore if you want to. You don't have to buy into the matrix. How
did you land on Sniper? How did this movie come about?
Yeah, so in directing, there's two different ways you get a job. One is you self-generate a script and you get that going, and the other is a script comes to you. And this was one of the times where the script came to me, and the script was already written by Oliver, who's our writer and producer, and Daniel, who was our exec from over at Sony. And I was sent the script by my agent, and just like, hey, read this, see what you think. And I liked it, so I just had a couple of phone calls, and we decided to take a chance and do it together. And the series had already been going for quite some time here. Chad had been leading the series for 5 films now. Chad, is that right?
5.
That was one of my questions.
for your movies. But I remember watching that first Sniper film in the basement of my best friend's house in high school, and I have vivid memories of that moment. And then when I was starting up my film directing career, I had lunch with the director of photography randomly at some film festival in Banff. Me and 5 other people had lunch with the guy, and we were talking about sniper shots because I remember the shots from Sniper, and he was walking us through all the trick shots that they were doing. It just random happenstance. So I jumped in the movie, thrilled to work with Chad, and then I brought in Ryan, who I've been dying to work with. We did one tiny little film project over a decade ago, but we've remained pals since then, and this is the first time we've really had a chance to actually do a project of any significance together. So it was really fun. Is both Chad and Ryan are comic book fans, and appreciate that medium. So it was a fun project, and it was interesting. It came together real quick, and it shot even quicker. We had a very condensed shooting period. There were some scheduling constraints, so we shot for 3 weeks, and then we edited for a few months, and then it came out in during the lockdown. So it's been an interesting ride, but it's been really fun and really cool. I'd love to work with these guys again. I think we did some cool stuff. So,
Chad, how is it? You're the veteran of the series. How was it working with Kaare versus previous directors, and what did he bring? That was something different.
Wait. How honest are we on this podcast? Is this
be as honest as you want? Look,
that's not
the more we all fight, the better the views are going to be.
Oh gosh,
Kaare, you're on the clock to Venmo me something. Pay for my goodwill. I'm kidding. By the way, I've never seen Kaare without a hat. When we were shooting, he was wearing a hat the entire time. What a handsome guy. He should add actor to his multi-hyphenate thing. Get him in the next one.
Actually, when I started to direct, I really was taking it seriously, you do. And I started taking acting classes to direct. And I fell in love with acting so much because it's so, my parents are social workers. It was like therapy plus art together, and it was oh, it's amazing. I even went as far to get my headshots taken before I was what am I doing? This is not why I'm here. This is not why I'm here. I'm here to learn. So there was about a 5-second window where I thought maybe that's something I should consider, and then I immediately was not for me.
But wait, why did you think you had to wear a hat to be a director? Was that something they taught you? Was
I wear a hat so I can hide, basically. I wear a hat so I can hide on set like this, and I wear glasses often so I appear a bit smarter than I am. But what I found with my webcam setup, the glasses reflect too much light, and sometimes I gotta free the locks.
Was your hat a beret? Did you wear a beret? That's
going to be a 30-minute interview about Kaare's hat.
That's the next one.
Like that Simpsons episode with the anatomic carbon rod.
The hat helps you. The hat really does help you focus. I find when I'm directing, it locks you in a little bit.
I like it. These are the tips, ladies and gentlemen. If you become a director, you got to wear a hat.
Get a hat.
Ryan
Gotta
and
have a hat.
both hat wearing. So that's it. So
It's too early.
Chad, aside from the hat, how was it working with Kaare?
Yeah, well, as much as Kaare tried to hide behind the hat and everything else, screaming through the bullhorn at us all every single day was he made up for it there. I'm kidding. He did not scream. Kaare's not a screamer, which Ryan can probably attest. No one likes to work with a screamer. Kaare was the nicest fella on set, and our true leader. Like you guys said, this is the fifth one I've been a part of, the eighth one overall. And like Kaare, I grew up on the original, so it's always been a dream come true to work on a movie that I grew up, loving, and a franchise that I enjoyed a lot. So Kaare was great. He brought such a distinct visual style, and I think it's because he is such a creative multi-hyphenate, and this movie felt totally unlike anything that I've ever been a part of, in the way that it was stylized and the shots that he had gone, the John Woo kind of feel to it. You could tell this guy had an amazing comic book storyboard that he had already drew out, that he was working from, and the movie really unfolded that way. And it was really an awesome part to see the finished product, because I knew when we were on set scrambling around trying to make this movie, I knew we had captured something really fun and something original for our franchise, which is not always easy to do when you're 8 deep, so it was really a breath of fresh air. And I think the audiences really dug Kaare's artistic vision on this one. And we just had a blast. We had so much fun on this shoot. It was only 3 weeks long, and I wish it was.
Yeah, what was the reason behind that? I mean, just when was it shot?
The budget was a constraint, but there was an additional scheduling constraint. Like when there was this weird thing at there was some kind of long weekend or something. There's some weird hard date. It wasn't just money, but it was also money, because money is time, basically.
Sure.
An additional some kind of. So we were shooting 6-day weeks, which does incur extra costs. So we shot for 3 6-day weeks. So you'd shoot for 6 days, then collapse at home, shoot for 6 days, collapse at home, shoot for 6 days, and then realize it's over, and then start crying because you're just so emotionally exhausted by being around these yahoos all day.
Chad, you kind of mentioned it, like, it's the 8th installment. It's your 5th one. I mean, how do you get excited each and every time to do this character, or is it easy, or does it come easy and natural?
I get excited because it's a rare opportunity as an actor to revisit a character over and over and over, and add that extra wrinkle, add that extra layer, add that extra, chunk of dirt under their fingernails, so to speak. And I think that's the cool thing. Brandon Beckett's the character that I play, and each script, each movie, gets to take him, somewhere new. We've explored, issues of PTSD. In this movie, Oliver Thompson, our great writer producer, he wrote a script that, really tied it back to some of the original stuff from the early movies starring just Tom Berenger. And, there's a fractured father and son thing there. So we got to work with that and play with that. And I got to do more talking scenes with Tom in this movie than I probably have in the other 4 previous combined. So that was a really fun wrinkle. So reading the script, I'm always excited to come back and do this. As Kaare knows, I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan.
Okay.
So growing up on G.I. Joe and all that sort of stuff, be able to do these sniper movies has always been a pleasure for me. So I'm always ready to rock when Sony's ready to make another one.
This feels like the most G.I. Joe, outing of the sniper franchise. We have kind of heightened characters. We have Ryan, Agent Zero. We have Lady Death. We have these Russian guys that kind of look like I give them helmets and kind of give them kind of a G.I. Joe aesthetic. To be honest,
that's great.
The cool thing with this movie is, if you're a fan of the franchise, if you've seen the other ones, we really try to put Chad's character see him in a new light, see him at home. The first time you see Chad's character, Brandon, he's playing video games, which is both something that was a nod to Chad's other work in Call of Duty. He's a very famous character in that franchise as well. And also it was like, it's fun. Like, it was like fun to see like an action hero just kind of open playing video games. Like, there's a huge crossover of military and video games in the real world. So it made a lot of sense to just play around with some of those ideas.
Now, Ryan, you brought into this for the very first time in this franchise. Talk to us about your character and talk to us about the experience kind of joining something that was, kind of already established too.
Yeah, definitely. I was a fan of the franchise, and to get brought in, the blessing was it was just a completely new character that we had the opportunity to sort of create and establish. So that was a great blessing. And to be honest, everybody was incredibly welcoming, especially Chad. Chad kind of he's like a great teammate. He doesn't treat anybody like, hey, welcome to my team. It's like, okay, this is the team right now, and we're all in it together. And it was a blast. We had such a great time. And, I play Agent Zeke Rosenberg, aka Zero, who's just kind of doesn't abide by the rules. Homeland Security officer, is a bit of a rogue agent who just will do whatever it takes to get the job done. And and to right the wrongs along the way and make some wrongs along the way, I suppose. But it was super fun, man. I mean, I just got to be boots on the ground, running around chasing people and beating them up and having a laugh.
Well, it's cool that you say that too, because I was wondering about that as well. I mean, it's got to be almost like a little like, and Kaare, again, going back to the comic book world, where you kind of can be whoever you want to be, and you get to actualize it. How much fun is it doing, these kind of stunts and doing this kind of like an action movie in terms of like, your 12-year-old self? Like, is your 12-year-old self just smiling inside when you guys are doing this film? Take your pick. Anybody can answer that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely, of course. Like, we had scenes where, it's like, oh, let's throw Ryan, but actually Jack, my stunt double, we're going to throw him through a pane of glass. Yeah, let's build this outdoor shower so that we can throw Jack through some glass. And, hey, should we throw him through that concrete bench? That might look cool. Yeah, let's throw him through.
But Ryan also did a lot of physical work himself. Ryan's very physical. You've done some training too, right, Ryan? A little bit of MMA stuff. Like he did his fights. Obviously worked with some people to keep people safe. But Ryan was very physical. He had a good fight. And then Chad had the most fights in the movie, and we spent the most time because of Ryan's character. His character was a bit more straightforward. But the character that Chad's character Brandon battles, Lady Death, is a Yakuza trained assassin. So we got to play a little bit with more of a choreographed,
martial
arts thing. We had Brett Chan, who was this awesome choreographer that's a friend of ours in Vancouver. He did Iron Fist, the first season of Iron Fist, and he did a Warrior for Cinemax and Marco Polo for Netflix. He's very good. And Chad worked really hard with the choreography. And I was impressed with everyone, to be honest. Like, it is fun for the actors to do this physical stuff if they can do it. Yeah. It's not fun for anyone if they can't. So it was a big surprise. Not a big surprise. It was a nice surprise that the actors were so able and capable to do so much work themselves and so well, Like, we were on a condensed shooting schedule, so we didn't have a lot of time to rehearse. We did as much as we could, but it was always a big question on set, like, how much can we really lean on our talent to do the work, and how much is going to have to be, trickery. So, but that question was answered pretty fast and in a good way.
Yeah, those fight scenes with Chad and Saka were incredible. They were so fun to watch. Like, I rewound it a couple of times. I was like,
do you ever sit back and I mean, I know just from my limited experience as well too. I mean, it's amazing, like, what gets shot versus what ends up being the finished product. Or do you ever sit back and just kind of like say, I can't, like, amazing, like, how well things turn out, or how different it is when you're actually shooting versus what the end result is?
It's always different, but it's just such a process. I don't think you ever look at it in that and so compartmentalized. It's just, it's a race to get it working. It's a race to shoot it. It's a race to edit it. It's a race to hit that delivery date. It's just a race all the time. Yeah, I don't know. Chad, you've done so many of these sniper films in particular. Did you feel any differently, or is it always such a race as well?
I was enjoying on set, working with Kaare and some of the other wonderful actors they had assembled for this movie. Kaare was very open to the spirit of improv, and we had a lot of really fun lines. Ryan, you came up with some really fun zingers that I think made the final cut. And I know we had played a lot with my Brandon character, with just trying to, have a little bit more of the charm and the fun and the gallows humor and stuff like that. And that not all that stuff's going to make the final cut. You always kind of, hope you capture a little bit of gold, a little lightning in a bottle, and you kind of hope that it gets the sign off in the back end, but it doesn't always fit into the overall picture. But that was a lot of fun to do, and I will go back to just the fight scenes element. Our Lady Death is an actress named Sayaka Akimoto, and I was thrilled to get the script and see all the hand-to-hand stuff. I love that stuff. It's not easy work, but it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy getting down and dirty on films like this. But Sayaka, who's a Japanese actress and pop star, came to this set, and she worked her butt off to do all that stuff too. We were training with Brett Chan and his team outside of set in a dojo for hour after hour after hour, putting some of these fight scenes together. And she was such a gamer. She was so dedicated to getting it right. And it's like Kaare says, if you have actors who are not only excited and willing to do the fight stuff and the action stuff, but then can also mostly execute it in a way that's usable, now you've hit the sweet spot. And everybody in the cast was such a gamer. Ryan Robbins and Michael Johnson, who came in and played our big bad. Like, everybody was so excited to mix it up, because I don't think actors get that opportunity all the time. And then some actors think they want the opportunity, but by the end of the shoot, they regret that opportunity kind of thing. So we had a perfect mix of people who were gamers and also finishers in terms of that sort of stuff. It was really, really a lot of fun.
Yeah, the great thing is with especially with Ryan and Chad here is, when you direct actors, the best thing that I think you can do is invite them to play. Creative people need to play to make art at any kind of level that's not just tracing over someone else's photocopy. So when you work with people that are up for that, because it's not always the way to do it, but when you have actors that can step up and can do an extra take and do a fun thing and try something else, even if that take isn't used, I think it infuses the performance with an in the moment, a spirit of being in the moment that makes that whole performance, I think, a bit more interesting rather than just stand here, say the lines, And so it was great to work with both Chad and Ryan, especially with that stuff. They're very good at it and very, very willing to jump in. And I think our first take, me and Chad, I think I maybe surprised him a little bit with he's playing video games, and then he's supposed to be playing some 13-year-old kid on the Xbox, and we had written some secret dialogue that we were gonna feed into him, and I just didn't have it with me when the cameras were rolling, so I just started making stuff up, and I think I kind of started. He was like, oh, Kaare's talking to me now, like as the kid, whoa. It was really fun. It was really fun. I liked some of that video game stuff where on our first day of shooting when Chad first showed up, I think is the most fun of the movie. And I really wanted to get that fun. The first Sniper is a fun movie. You have Billy Zane in over his head with Tom Berenger's just fucking beep. Thank you. Yeah. He's just gotcha. Tom Berenger, just putting him in place. It's a fun dynamic. And I wanted to try to get some of that fun back in this current incarnation of that film.
Well, that's awesome. All right, we are a comic book centric podcast. We try to ground ourselves in that world, and then kind of move out into different things like action movies, like what you guys started and created. But we have to ask a question because we ask this of all our celebrity guests. Superpower you wish you had. Ryan, we'll start with you. We'll go to Chad. We'll round it out with Kaare. Superpower you wish you had.
Teleportation.
Ooh, yeah. See, okay, that's Hassan's bread and butter. And I don't know why. Why teleportation? What's the
why? So if I don't want to be here, I'm gone. Anywhere I want to be. Look at that.
Hassan's reasoning was he would always be on time for work, which I just never understood.
I don't like flying. I like destinations. You know, I know it's supposed to be about the journey, but if I could just nightcrawler Banff there, I'm in a heartbeat.
Yes.
My farts would smell like coal.
Amazing. Chad?
Brimstone, right?
Same thing. Almost the same thing.
Coal's easier to come by.
All my favorite superheroes are gluttons for punishment. Wolverine, Punisher, this sort of stuff. So I'll go with the Wolverine healing factor.
Underrated. That's an underrated power.
Get in there and be the meat shield.
You guys need to jump into Chad's Instagram where he's been posting himself. The man is a walking men's fitness magazine cover. He's been posting himself as Wolverine for fun during the lockdown.
I can see it.
Cool, man. Both Ryan and Chad should be in like Marvel superhero movies. Like they're both like they have that charismatic yet like athletic presence. I think I could easily see them in those movies. Any of them.
Bucket list stuff right there.
Yeah.
Yes,
I hear they're going to be casting a new Wolverine soon, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, what's your superpower?
They'll cast like an 18-year-old Wolverine.
That's always a hard one. My favorite hero is Spider-Man, and always has been. I kind of like that jumpy, gymnastic-y type thing. But I think the thing I like best about Spider-Man is he just screws up all the time, but he tries hard. And I screw up and I fall on my face and I hurt people I love. But I try to keep going. And I think that is the spark of any hero. It's intention. So that's if I could have more of that, I'd take it.
Oh, that's pretty deep, actually. All right.
2020.
Touching.
Dealing
A
with
little
life
more
here,
emotion
man.
than I had
Dealing with
bargained
life.
for.
Just trying to survive.
Tell everyone where they can watch
these things when he's on the head of a gargoyle, just looking over the city.
He does constantly. Him and Batman are constantly thinking about life. Just
from way up high, though. They're always on the gargoyle's head.
If Batman was on this podcast, he'd be up in the gargoyle right now, just being like, "I wish I had the power of love.
There's no Wi-Fi up here,
Mommy, Daddy. How did you do this to me?"
Tell everyone where they can watch Sniper Assassin's End and individually where we can find you guys online.
Yeah, Sniper Assassin's End is available now in your Walmart. If you mask up and go in, you can buy it. Or if you don't want to leave the house, it's on iTunes, Amazon Prime. It's on all the VOD digital delivery systems. Check it out.
Fantastic. Chad and Ryan, where can we find you online? Mention
Go
Instagram.
for it, Ryan. Where can I find you?
I'm on Instagram at Rain City Ryro. I'm on Twitter at Robbins. Come get me. I'm not in the
Ryan, I don't know if we can talk about this, but Ryan also has this awesome custom car motorcycle thing that he does on the side. That's pretty dope on Instagram called
HarbingerCustoms.ca on Instagram.
Look at that. See,
yeah, we
want to plug as much as we can.
Motorcycles and thanks, man. Yeah, we build custom motorcycles. We make we make cool things go fast. Ruggedly handsome vehicles go fast.
Awesome.
Chad, where can we find you?
I guess that's my turn. Instagram and Twitter is at. I guess I should plug Twitch. I've been doing a lot of Twitch streaming during this quarantine.
Cool.
Playing my Call of Duty game, which has been a blast.
Do you play your character? So I don't know if you know this, but Chad plays. What's your character's name? Call of Duty? Michael?
Alex, aka Echo 3-1. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can actually play Chad himself here right now on Call of Duty.
That's got to be a surreal experience.
I've been Twitch streaming, and it's been fun. It's just Chad Michael Collins, on Twitch. I mix it up with a lot of the fans and the players and the gamers, and and everything. It's been really nice because the Call of Duty fans have become sniper fans now, and the sniper fans have come and joined us on Call of Duty, which is really great. So, like Kaare was saying, there's a lot of crossover to this stuff, and it's just people who love action any way they can get.
Do people know when they run across you in the game? Do they ever know? Do they know it's you? Like, do they ever? Is there some? Do people know your username? Is there some kind of like trick there? Is there some kind of?
I mean, if they see my Instagram posts and watch my Twitch streams, they get to see my my gamer handle, which is Sniper B Beckett. Actually, that's my
nice
tag that I run around in Call of Duty, Sniper B Beckett.
But he'd be a bad sniper if they knew it was him, right? that's kind of not how it works.
Oh, next level. You're on that gargoyle.
And playing Call of Duty, sniping is extremely hard. That is left to the most skilled players, and that is not me. No. So my name is very misleading in the game. Sniper B Beckett. I don't even bother to pick up a sniper rifle. I'm like, give me a shotgun. I'm going to charge in there and hope for the best.
Well, we want to thank you gentlemen for coming out in the year that is 2020. But no, we really do. We appreciate you coming on, and you guys should all check out the movie. If you're out there, go ahead and download it, like Kaare had said. When we come back, we put a bow on today's episode. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. I want to thank Ryan, Chad, and Kaare for dropping by. Go check out Sniper Assassin's End. I know, Hassan, you were a big fan of the original Tom Berenger film, so it's kind of a real treat, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was. And to hear them talk about it was kind of cool. It was really cool,
Yeah, no,
So, yeah.
They're genuinely grateful and excited for the roles they're doing. And Kaare, in general, too, I actually got to record him for another podcast that's going to be coming out on the Rogue Wave Podcast Network down the line a couple months from now, called Wednesday Forever. And it's basically toys that made us for comics. It's going to be really awesome. He goes deep into Spider-Man Reign. He is a tremendous guest to have on. Just really, like I said, a very humble but also very excitable creator. And anytime you see that in a creator, it's always infectious,
Yeah.
So we want to thank you guys for checking us out. No Spin the Racks this week. We were just jam-packed with too much stuff. Next week, we will dive even further into all the fun stuff that you guys love to talk about. We will see you next week.
Rogue Wave.